All right, well, welcome all to the June call for the Emerging Centers track. We have Winona Snapp-Childs here today to talk to us about the Midwest Research Computing and Data Consortium. Before we do that, though, I have a couple of intro slides in case you're new to CARC to kind of get your context aligned with what CARC is and what the Emerging Centers track is all about. So I'm going to jump into that here quick. So the Emerging Centers track is part of the People Network. The CARC People Network is a now over 2,000 strong community for campus professionals who support research and computing data resources and the researchers that use them. So if you use computing or data in your research, you're probably interfacing with someone that's a member of CARC these days. We have five main tracks that are kind of centered around different foci. We have researcher facing, systems facing, data facing, you're in emerging centers, and strategy and policy facing. And they're kind of aligned around our job roles, right? So systems facing are folks that spend a lot of time in the HPC center maintaining systems. Data facing is more around data management and some of the librarian sciences. Strategy and policy facing is more around leadership and policies for research computing. You get the idea. This track is brought to you by our committee members. We just had a bunch of new members join us, so welcome to all of you that joined in April. I'm Patrick Clemens, and my co-coordinator is Jason Sims, and then the rest of this team has meets monthly to put together this series of monthly meetings for you all. If you want to get involved, you can join our mailing lists, come to our events. Any questions or concerns, you can email the coordinators at that email address to suggest call topics. Always looking for input from the community on call topics. Volunteer to participate on one of these calls in a panel, lead or facilitate a call, provide feedback, or if you're interested in joining the steering committee or in a leadership role, more than welcome to email us as well. We're always looking for volunteers. All right, so that's a little intro. Any questions? All right, great. Well, I'm going to post again the call doc in the chat. If you could, please sign in there. And with that, Winona, floor is yours.
Thank you. So hello, all. First time on this call, but not first time CARC attendee. I'll introduce myself a little bit first, and then in the CARC speak, and then can proceed with the talking about the Midwest RCD Consortium. So hi, I'm Winona Snapp-Childs. I am the Director of Research Partnerships within Research Technologies. That's the group at Indiana University that supports all of the supercomputing and larger data needs for the entire IU system, if you will. Also Chief Operating Officer for the Pervasive Technology Institute, which is a use-inspired research institute centered on large-scale computing and data and advanced cyber infrastructure. And so that those titles are a mouthful, and sort of tell you where I spend most of my time in the strategy facing type of areas. But I do, within my role at IU, I have a team of facilitators that are primarily researcher facing. I also have some folks that do development work. Developing applications, web pages, and some other items, largely through grant-funded activities. That's a little bit about me and how I spend my day job. But the more interesting stuff is the consortium that I'm pleased to talk to you about. So I do have some slides, and let's see if I can share these effectively. Here. Okay, very good. It's not in full screen share mode, but I think that's okay. So, oops, now I've lost view. Okay, so Midwest Research Computing and Data Consortium is a consortium which was formed back in 2016, primarily for institutions within not the entire Midwest, just Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Illinois. And the group was formed really as there are lots of large research institutions in very close proximity, in Midwesterns at least, in close proximity to each other, that were often solving similar problems at the same time, but didn't really have communications, effective communications across organizations. So the consortium was formed to be able to, have opportunities to discuss technical matters. What are you developing? What are you struggling with? Sharing information in a trusted fashion, within the Midwest, and being able to work on projects across institutional bounds, and benefit our institutions more so than if we had not been able to coordinate and collaborate with each other. So it started out fairly small. And again, the primary focus was not to duplicate anything that was happening in national efforts or larger conferences, but it was really to be able to work together and share in a sort of beta stage or pre-beta even what we were working on. And so the premise of the consortium, was to do those things. And the way that this was executed was we decided to rotate an annual meeting at different institutions. So there would be a host institution. Their role was to identify campus spots on campus where 15 or 20 people could meet together for a day or a day and a half and identify local points of interest, like where the restaurants are and whatnot. But essentially there would be, people would agree upon a date. There'd be a host institution. You'd come together for this meeting, drive in the day before, spend a night in a hotel, have activities together from 8 a.m. to roughly 2 or 3 p.m. and then depart for the day. So it was a lightweight kind of conference/workshop kind of activity. And these kinds of activities spawned a number of different kind of projects that benefited the institutions that were participating. So one of the ones that I was involved with was in those early days, we were developing more interactive HPC. And so we were evaluating different options. So this is again, 2016, 2017 timeframe. And we had settled on a desktop, virtual desktop approach. And so we brought this up at this meeting, and Purdue happened to be working on the same issues, and they were interested in collaborating with us in terms of not technical development, but doing some activities surrounding that, like working together on use cases, to share with our administration to explain what we're doing, doing surveys of researchers and others to understand needs. And we ended up publishing a PERC paper or two about this. So that was a good outcome from these activities. Okay, so moving forward, so there wasn't too much to the consortium beyond, a mailing list, a very lightweight website, and of course the annual meeting, which people very much appreciated going to. So fast forward to 2020 and 2021, a couple of very impactful things happened. Yes, COVID, but more important than that was the Purdue actually hosted a workshop on workforce development, focusing on cyber infrastructure professionals. And this was supported by the National Science Foundation. So that workshop produced a report. This report was really impactful. And one of the impacts was that the NSF decided to, or at least as far as I know, I'm not an NSF person, so I can't speak for them, but it appeared that they took the information from the workshop report and then have adjusted some of their offerings to reflect the needs that were identified in this workshop. So one of them came around in 2021, early 2022, which was what they call a research coordination network. So essentially focused on cyber infrastructure professionals. So I saw that solicitation and then knew that there was some action that could happen here. This is a very interesting opportunity to really think about the consortium and what we're doing and how we can expand it so that more people can benefit, and more people meaning different institutions, including our friends within the area, within the Midwest that have limited or fewer resources than we have at Indiana University. So we wrote a proposal, and this was based on the concepts of the Midwest Research Computing Consortium. So essentially, the theme of our consortium is that building a trusted network drives innovation and helps shape our future. And so I'll talk about in these next kind of slides what it is that we proposed and what it is that we're currently doing with those funds. But to be clear, while we have National Science Foundation funding for this particular project to do extra things, the consortium was established prior to that and will continue to exist after the National Science Foundation funds are exhausted. So I want to just take, so what does it mean to be in the Midwest? All right. Well, there's a number of different perspectives that one could take, including a census level meaning. And the census level definition of the Midwest, extends all the way to the Dakotas and through the Great Lakes region and ends at Ohio. That's actually a really big geographic area. And, so in this sort of discussions with people that I knew in the community, some through CARC and other places, we kind of settled on a sort of definition of, which effectively means the Great Lakes region, although we typically don't exclude people just exclusively on their geography. But more of a Midwestern state of mind, if you will. So a lot of our activities are really meant on supporting these more local or regional interactions with each other. So for instance, we maintain our meeting, but the idea is to get the people in the area to drive so there's not a lot of airline traffic. And that was a piece of our proposal in what we're, constructing what it is we're doing. Okay. Do I have any questions thus far? Take a little pause, open up. Do we have anybody can I get any hands raised? Anybody in the Great Lakes states?
I do a half a hand because I live there, but I actually work for University of Vermont. So I'm
That's okay.
so I can drive to this stuff, but
yeah, perfect. That's great. Yes, that's one of the things that I don't know if your position was like that before the pandemic, but we find ourselves now in these situations where people are living in different states more frequently than the places that they're employed, and we welcome that as well. I have a hand raised. Amira?
Yeah, thank you, Winona. My First, I mean, I work at University of Illinois, Chicago as a
Mm.
facilitator in RCD, and first time to learn about the Midwest RCD Consortium. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Yes. We do try to get into people's inboxes, but you know, that's a challenge with all the email clutter going around. Okay, so back to the consortium. You know, we don't really have a formal sort of membership model like like CaRC does. It's not, we're not institutional, nor are we sort of, you know, individual basis. And this is one of the kind of issues that we had proposed through the course of this award that we would try to figure out. Because both models have merit, but they also have some challenges that go with them. But essentially, you know, if I could sum up the Midwest RCD Consortium's aims, it's really to foster community-driven engagement and to both expand connections within the region, but also deepen. And so let's see, I have a different set of slides that I'm going to hop over to, so hopefully that's not too problematic for people. So these are less pretty slides, but I think capture what I want to say here. So we wrote this proposal based on a model for community engagement. And this is from the community participation model from CSCCE. And basically what it is a framework for understanding how people can move from, you know, participating in a group by sort of consuming information, but which is relatively passive, towards a deeper set of interactions where you're not just collaborating, but you're creating opportunities. And so this award was, you know, we used this framework, this community participation model framework, to move us into a space where the members of the group could make new opportunities for themselves and, you know, create the future by working together in a trusted forum. So what does that mean and how do you get there? Well, let's see, I'll hop back to the pretty slides in just a minute, but essentially under that framework, there are injections of energy or accelerations that need to happen in order to sort of have a transformation from just, you know, passively consuming, you know, being on a mailing list and reading it, to, you know, working on a cross-institutional project of some kind, a working group, you know, with a product, to, you know, creating a whole new thing. So CaRC really, you know, follows this. So I think you all are very familiar, you know, with the overall concepts here of, you know, there's lots of people in CaRC. Many people just sort of participate on the periphery, if you will. You know, they're on the mailing lists and they may not respond to all to the mailing list, but they read them. And then they're, you know, all the way at the other end are, you know, people are creating like the RCD capabilities model. So inventing new things and changing how we view ourselves and we are able to do things in the future. So to do this is not requires energy and motivation. And so how do you kind of move from, you know, very lightweight interactions to these deeper ones? And so we use what we're calling programmatic accelerators and products to do this. So I'll hop back to the other slides now, so we can kind of start talking about this. These, in the initial sort of envisioning of the award, you know, and based on some social science frameworks, there's a couple of different ways to provide these accelerations. And so we have kind of outlined these different programs here on this slide, which help accomplish those goals. So they are called affinity groups. And I'll describe these in the next few slides. A student experience program, an annual meeting, and then there is one more, which isn't represented here, but that is a residency fellowship. Okay, so first onto affinity groups. So you've probably heard this term, affinity groups, and it typically gets invoked when we're talking about more social kinds of issues, but we're borrowing this term to mean people that have a shared interest, in the RCD space. So in our consortium, we have opportunities for people to create groups to do what they need to do, form a working group or an interest group on a particular technology or topic. And the ones that we had initially proposed in the award, one of which has completed its work, that's the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion group. The one that remains from the initial proposal were a cyber infrastructure value or return on investment group. So one of the things that many of the folks in the strategy facing area struggle with are, securing funds for all of the things that we do and communicating with upper administrators about the value and the importance of the work that is done in our area. And so this group takes kind of a quantitative approach to working on that. And the main aim of while there are activities that are ongoing, the main aim for this, the work of that group during this project period are to come up with a toolkit for institutions of different sizes to use to be able to communicate to their leadership about what it is they're doing and how these activities in the research, computing, and data activities support institutional priorities, from a quantitative point of view. So we had the two initial affinity groups that were identified at the proposal, and we had individuals identified to lead those groups. But the rest of it, the other three that are listed here are groups that have come up based on community interests. So there's an application process, these are all community leaders. So there's the three active ones are the Globus Compute Affinity Group, Next Generation Data Centers, and then Scientific Cloud. So I'll describe just in words what these are. So Globus Compute is a product that is available from Globus, and they have advanced this product significantly in the last couple of years. And one of the members from the University of Michigan wanted to basically have a communication avenue for people in the region who are working with this product because it's changing and it's complicated, and she wanted to just be in closer contact with other people that are researcher facing to understand how this thing is useful to researchers from different areas. And one of the aims of the group in either the first or the second year is to actually host a workshop, a regional workshop, in collaboration with the Globus team to get some more training as this product, which their institution has adopted, changes. So that's what that group is about. The Next Generation Data Center group. So that group was formed out of the annual meeting that we have provides us the opportunity to do a lot of networking with each other and talk about what we're doing in a trusted format. And during the last annual meeting, I guess 2024 annual meeting, it was a topic that was brought up were that many of the institutions were working on their data center capabilities. There were people who were in various stages of investigating new sites, retrofitting old ones. How do we and then dealing with a variety of issues related to that. So there was an application, and it was approved to basically for this group together to host a workshop that brought us all together with some vendor partners to understand the current landscape and what the offerings were in a sort of short time scale, and then share some, lessons learned from people who had recently either significantly modified their data centers or had just completed new builds. So this was roughly a day and a half workshop that was held in February of this year. That was an outcome of this affinity group. Okay. Then there's the scientific cloud group. So there are in the Great Lakes area, there are a number of institutions that host local cloud environments, and it's much less common than hosting an HPC environment. And so these, sysadmins and that are running these clouds, in their local institutions, they may not have anybody else there that understands what they're doing. And while there is a lot of there's a lot of commercial cloud activity, hosting your own cloud and doing those activities means you're doing very different things than a traditional batch environment. And your next closest colleagues, you may not see them every year because they you're either in Europe or something like this. So, but through the course of, again, these annual meetings, while the local cloud environments don't get talked about a lot, it was revealed that, yeah, they had these various deployments and, were struggling with the same issues. So they all met together. They kind of share a lot of technical expertise. So they have a monthly call where they talk about, just, hey, here's what I'm doing, or here's what I'm thinking about doing. Have you done this before? How'd you do it? And then they also, again, they also decided to host a workshop in partnership with the OpenStack Foundation, which is now part of the Linux Foundation. So that workshop brought together cloud operators, people who build things for cloud environments, and it was held in Indianapolis in October of 24. And that group continues to meet monthly and make plans for their next endeavor. Okay, any questions about those affinity groups or how we're thinking about affinity groups?
Also, yeah, this is interesting because we're thinking about doing something similar within our emerging centers committee meetings, and we've had a meeting or two on this. But I'll save any larger questions to the end. But this was interesting to hear how you guys are approaching it.
Yeah, so I'll just let me highlight some differences from the way that CaRC, is kind of constructed. CaRC has great, interest groups and working groups. And, my expectation at any rate is, there's ongoing conversations that happen, during an interest group. And then like a product kind of is the result of the working group, like you're working towards something. Our affinity groups, if you will, kind of, we weren't necessarily interested in, making them say ahead of time what it is that if they were like an interest group and they wanted to turn into a working group, like we just thought, no, okay, we'll just kind of let them choose what they want to do and just say it's an affinity group on a particular topic or subject or whatever. And they self-define what it is that they want to do. And while the main result has been, 3 out of the, I guess we've had 5 total affinity groups kind of formed and 1 has concluded its work, but 3 out of the 5 are a blend of interest groups and working group activities. So they mainly talk about things, but occasionally they mobilize to do a concrete activity. The return on investment group is has yet to identify any workshop type of community activity, but instead they kind of work together to talk about ideas, and then occasionally write a paper about some of these activities. The diversity, equity, inclusion group, which is no longer active, was much more in line with just an interest group. Okay, so moving on to another component. So one of in our goals for building more connections, one of the ideas that spawned in the course of proposal writing was to engage our students into our activities so that we could really showcase the really exciting things that we do in institutions of higher ed, supporting research, computing, and data work at our institutions. So I'm a staff member at Indiana University, but I also have an adjunct faculty appointment in our Intelligent Systems Engineering department. And I have yet to encounter a student, that sort of thought about a career in the supercomputing center as an option. And I view that as a real shame, because we do great work, and it's really, these are some of the most exciting jobs, I think, at the university, supporting, the frontiers of science and scholarship. So how do we, and like other people who have leadership type of positions, we encounter hiring problems all the time. Sometime, of late, we've had exceptional success in terms of getting people to apply for our positions. Traditionally, we don't get very many people that apply to the positions, and many of those that do apply aren't really, when you have an interview with them, they don't really understand what it is that we're doing and aren't really actually very interested in the particular jobs that we do. So this is one of these ideas that's meant to solve some of our own problems. So engaging with the next generation of cyber infrastructure professional. So the way that we do this is we have a student experience program, which is kind of coupled with the annual networking meeting or networking retreat, as we call it. So the idea, we advertise as broadly as we can for students in the region who are interested in learning about what it means to be a cyber infrastructure professional. And we supply them with a mentor. And so the mentors meet with the students. We have the students attending the annual meeting so they can hear the talks and meet the people, and they have some homework during the meeting to go talk to people. So they have a mission there to really better understand what it means to be a cyber infrastructure professional, and hopefully we are able to inspire them to think about being part of our future. So that's a pretty lightweight kind of engagement. They do just a couple of meetings with their mentors before the annual meeting, and then the mentor kind of helps them achieve their goals by introducing them to different people at the meeting, and have a post-annual network meeting with them to just to continue the relationship or not at their own discretion. Okay, there is one more activity that did not make it to the pretty slide. Let's see, do I have a good description of these things? Oh, okay. So one more thing that I kind of wanted to highlight, which I thought is kind of which is an activity that the consortium back in 2016, 2017 was just starting to do, but fell off obviously during the pandemic. So one of the best ways to understand what another institution is doing is to go to that place and talk to the people that are doing those jobs and looking at the systems and just really getting a better grounding on the way that operations are happening. And so we have a specific program called the Residency Fellowship Program, where basically it's kind of a travel award. So a cyber infrastructure professional makes a connection with some colleagues at other institutions, and the consortium provides them with travel funds to go to that other institution to learn something new, to discuss ideas, and to spark a potential collaboration. So on this slide here, which is very boring, you don't have to read it all, are just two of the residency fellows sort of summaries about what they were doing during their fellowship period. Okay, back to the pretty slides. All right. So those activities, everything that I've illustrated thus far is supposed to be activities that are that has heavy community participation, right? So the affinity groups are supposed to self-assemble, and then the consortium supports those affinity groups by providing funds, providing some project management, providing some advice and communication support. And then the student experience program is really meant for for the students to volunteer to participate, and then community members to share a little bit of their time with the students to help encourage them to see themselves as future cyber infrastructure professionals. The networking meeting, though, the annual meeting, is a larger event that really the consortium as a program sponsors and invests some significant time to helping move along. So we have this meeting. It is on a rotation kind of basis within the Midwest. So it has been at Purdue, University of Michigan, Notre Dame, Ohio State. We are most recently at Case Western, and or at least I relatively recently discovered that the Big Ten Conference Center in Rosemont, Illinois is available at no charge for people in the Big Ten Academic Alliance to use as a conference space. So we've also had the meeting in Chicago in that facility. So we typically, the meeting is supported by the consortium, but again, meant to be a community type of building effort. So we basically ask for ask for volunteers to organize a panel of their own choosing, or give a talk. It could be a lightning talk, could be a longer talk. We ask that the host institution, for this project during the award period, that we ask the host institution to identify somebody from their institution who they'd really like, who they think is interesting, and to give a keynote. So last in the meeting that we just had in Case Western, we had someone from the quantum computing group, a cyber infrastructure professional, give a talk about what was going on with quantum computing at Case Western. Really interesting talk. So to get a little local experience, do something special for the local host. So I wanted to kind of share with you what that looks like in terms of, and then the consortium provides, some resources to make these things happen. So we are administratively efficient. So we have, we pay for hospitality. During the award, we pay for hotel room for one night. We we provide some conference software, and I wanted to just show you real quick what the schedule looked like for this year. We have a nice scheduling system for software, and so we had a session. This was a sort of day and a half sort of format. So the consortium sponsored a special session on communicating across differences during the first day. And then the second day is really a full day of activities. So we had a lovely keynote. Then we had a panel that Karen Tonka from Ohio Supercomputing Center organized. We had different breakout groups. We had one in the Globus Compute. We had one from a community member who had a discussion about moving from CentOS to Ubuntu. Then we had lightning talks. We had different people volunteer to organize these sessions about. So this one is a more return on investment kind of session, but so not of interest to everybody. But throughout the course of the day, you can see that there were there's kind of something for everybody. But so the community, it's sort of a hodgepodge, but it's because it's community developed. And so you learn something new, you hear about something you're really interested in, and we have plenty of time for talking to each other, and so we all win. I think this our last meeting in particular was really great. Grateful to Case Western for allowing us to come to their campus, and I really think it was very excellent experience. Okay. So our goal for this meeting is to get more people there. So I already had a couple of people, University of Illinois, Chicago. Then Patrick, you said you were living in the Midwest, but you were in Vermont. Hey, come on over, it's fine. We'd love to increase our engagement with institutions of different sizes. So one of the reasons why I'm here, to speak with you all is because we recognized, from the get-go that, within our region, it's not just big R1 institutions that do research computing. It comes in all kinds of different shapes and sizes from all kinds of different institutions. And the consortium has a specific aim to connect to emerging centers, if you will, to ask the question, which I think we posed in the abstract, like, what can a regional consortium do for you? So that is, I think all of the slides, the other two are basically, how do you get involved? Well, we have a Slack channel. We have this annual meeting. We kind of advertise in CARC to get people to come to the annual meeting. And so when you see those things come through, various CARC emailing lists, now you'll understand, what this is about, and hopefully they'll spark some interest there. But before I sort of stop talking and turn us back to conversation, I just wanted to kind of thank some people. So the way that we're organized, at least with respect to the National Science Foundation Award, is that our award is a single institution award. That's at Indiana University. We have myself, my colleague, Dr. Beth Flaley, as the PI and co-PI. And then we have a team of 3 people that do just part of their job or to work on consortium issues. And those are Asan, Laura, and Julie. And they really help everything go smoothly and are lovely people. But then, in a larger kind of viewpoint, we do have a steering committee that meets quarterly, and their role is to be just that, to provide advice and help steer what it is that happens in the consortium. And you can see from this big long list here that we have representation from 9 different institutions, and I'm very grateful to their time and to them for providing their expertise and their thoughts on what it is that we do. I will go ahead and stop sharing. And we can now talk. Hopefully I didn't talk too long for you all.
Any questions, anybody? So Winona, if we wanted to get involved in the Midwest Research Computing Consortium, would the website be the place to start?
You can start there. Yeah, absolutely. We send out a lot of our communications via email and sort of duplicate that in Slack. And so, yes, the website, which I can leave you with. So I'm part of the CARC website, and so I can go post this, and I'll go post that later. The slides and the link to the website in the Emerging Centers area.
Okay.
So I know that, I wanted to bring up something because I saw that Tim was going to be here. And, so some of what we do is definitely inspired by other groups like the Great Plains Regional Cyber Team. So, there are a number of regional consortiums of various shapes, flavors, sizes. Some of them are supported by, just the people that are there. Some of them have been supported by National Science Foundation funding, and they all kind of look a little bit different, have different foci and activities that they support and are trying to encourage. And so, there are what? I guess, we're all from different regions here within the Emerging Centers call, right? So if you are unaware of, what's happening in your region, I think that's worth kind of investigating further, because there are, hopefully what I've shared with you are just some ideas about how, like, CARC is a really great national organization. There's some things that, because of its size, scope, and scale, can do some really interesting and unique things. And then regional ones are, have different kind of focus and are more, and in some ways, are they come together really to solve common issues or to have a shared issues type of discussion area. I
Is
see
this a place one can go to find the list of like the geographically focused consortiums?
Yeah, that's a good point. That should be a CARC thing, shouldn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just aware. I see, Kyle, you got your mic off. You want
Yeah,
to?
I was just gonna say thank you. And I'm not in the Midwest, unfortunately. I'm down in Texas, and that was the first thing that I was like, "Wow, they're doing such a good thing there. What is ours doing?" And so it really made me key up that we need to, or that I need to invest and see what is available in my region aside from CARC. So thank you for really shining the success stories that you've had.
Thank you.
Hey, Winona, there's a couple comments in chat. You want to
Oh,
address
yes.
Jerry's and Manise's question?
Okay, yeah. In Maryland, we are just starting to pilot a shared HPC resource program, between smaller colleges and larger, better source resource institutions. Yeah. Where did you start with finding researchers or recruiting colleges? Oh, yeah. So part of it was very organic in that, so I work at Indiana University, but I'm a Purdue grad. And so the IU and Purdue are, they're both in-state organizations. And, so we kind of all know each other from some of these kind of just where you came from. And my husband is the same. He works at IU and as a Purdue grad. So a lot of the people we know each other. So it really started from like personal contacts, I would say, in terms of like recruiting colleges. And then it's a, discussion. And so at each institution, like there are these sort of different, different people in your network. And so a lot of conversations at various places where we might sort of locally intersect is how we started recruiting. And then so part of my work for the NSF award was very easy because we already had, a core group of 6 or 7 institutions. And then essentially, we kind of worked through our personal networks to, to add on additional institutions. So that's how the steering committee got formed. Hopefully that answers that kind of connections. So you have to have a lot of conversations, invest a lot of time into talking with people about what it is they're interested in and doing, and if they're, do your interests align? You know, and do you, not just if you're interested in it, but are you willing to put time into figuring it out? Jerry, I see you got your hand up because I'm talking to your questions.
No, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm from Maryland, and let me just come off for a second. And real super quick background. I was a CIO at a number of institutions. So I come from that perspective. Now I'm executive director of the Research and Education Network. So we're the REN of Maryland. And as we talked, we seem to be the only one that talks to everybody. And so what I'm finding is that the smaller institutions and HBCUs really lack not only HPC access, but also the support, the staff support to help them. So I'm working with a couple of faculty, and I've actually been able to, through my own.
Uh-oh, we lose Jerry.
Yeah, I lost him too. Well, maybe you can ask Venice's question while Jerry gets back on.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Benice. Oh, thank you. So it was the solicitation was the cyber training solicitation, but it was through a special dear, if I'm recalling correctly, a dear colleague letter that was issued for that solicitation. So typically cyber training focuses on providing cyber infrastructure training to specific domains. But this was a sort of, like I said, dear colleague letter that's attached to the cyber training program. So it came up once, it might never come up again. But let me say that, there are other similar types of programs that have funded regional collaborations. So I think Tim could best speak to the Great Plains. It's CC Star team. So CC Star in the past has formed teams and have offered funding for similar types of things. And I think that's the way that the Sweeter, that's the Southwest cyber team, and there's the Northeast cyber team, I think also funded through the CC Star program. So some of it kind of bounces around and appears to, come up every 3 or 4 years, seemingly. But, up to the NSF, right? And isn't a standing part of what they offer, as far as I can tell. So going back, okay, Jerry, nice to see you again. Yeah, so you were saying that you're the REN and you're seeing these needs at these small colleges.
Yeah, and so real quick, I happen to know the CIOs at the larger institutions that have established clusters, and was able to convince them to make their clusters available to individuals at these other schools. So we're going to be running a pilot this summer with about 6 researchers. They were kind of hard to identify, but we do have some now that, but what I really want to learn and what I'm wondering about is whether or not the support is going to be the issue, not just the access. And that may be a spot for our REN to move into. I call it the research concierge. I don't know. We'll see how the pilot goes. But I was just wondering, finding the researchers was hard. Getting the larger institutions to say, yeah, we'll open up our resources. I tried to convince them, and I think I did successfully, that this would be a good win for them publicly and PR wise.
Yeah, that's outstanding. Actually, so good job on that. My personal experience is that, yeah, support is a real challenge. Identifying, so again, just based on your institution, and the faculty research profile, if you will, like you know, you can encounter people who are used to working on like their AWS, people that are used to like collecting together desktops and just trying to figure stuff out, you know, in a very piecemeal kind of fashion. So working, you know, if you're not used to having those resources, then it seems like, oh, that must not be a thing for me. So I feel your pain there, but also, you know, they will come with, you know, different needs than, or could potentially come with different needs than the researchers at the larger institutions who are, you know, more like might be coming from domains that are like the numerical top 100 and whatnot that have what I would call our traditional HPC users.
Great. Hey, Winona, are you guys going to be at, is Midwest RCD going to be at PERC?
So yes, we are. I love that conference. So we are through one of my other projects. I'm actually participating in the RCD Nexus Day, like one of the leaders for the Future Creating Workshop. That's not for this project, that's for a different project. But so I'll be there for that. And then we do have a poster about one of our activities. So we have a, so come find us there too. But we, as part of our annual network meeting, we did a social network activity. And so we have a poster about what we're using a social network tool to better describe the consortium. So we have a poster about that. So that's what we have. And then, you know, in preparation for coming here, you know, my thoughts were that I recall, and maybe, you know, Tim, if he's still here, it seems like he had to go. There, and Patrick, one or both of you Patricks may recall like a PERC paper from 2017, 18 about the CC star cyber teams. So my thought was I need to go look. I know I read that paper a long time ago. I need to go dig it up, but I think it's worth, you know, doing something like a PERC paper, or maybe it really belongs in the, you know, CARC space to like identify these regional consortiums because, you know, they each have something that's sort of special about them, that special activities, and it doesn't duplicate CARC. It just, you know, augments and is you know, makes the national community richer to kind of identify these things and link together.
There's an upcoming call on the strategy policy facing track that's looking at some of this, but I think that putting together a PERC paper would be great. And one of the things is that, you know, what happened like with other papers that we've written, if it gets rejected from PERC, then we'll publish it as a CERC white paper and put it on Zenodo and have the channel there. So, you know, in any case, putting together the paper, I think is a nice idea. And I agree with sort of the slant you're taking on it, that, you know, these are important organizational things. And in fact, you know, if you want to work on that, I would love to talk to you more, because one of the things, and I know we're way over time, Patrick, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, everybody.
But I think that we could probably find a better model of having people like at the CARC and national level understand better how to leverage and work with, and in some cases support the work of regional networks and collaborations and things like this. And I think clarifying that and communicating that would be good for everybody.
Yeah, and I view it as an evolving landscape. So, and we're better together. That's one of my catchphrases.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for the comments and the discussion. And Winona, thanks for the great presentation. And we'll see you all next month. We'll take in the month off for PERC, but we'll looking at doing an in-person little gathering at PERC. So stay tuned for information on that. And we'll see you all online in August. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.